welcome to Country Girl with Kathy Jarvis, and it is Mardi Gras. It's March 4th, and I am planting peas in the greenhouses. Now, I know a lot of people say plant them on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, but in the greenhouse you can plant about 2 weeks earlier than what you can outside. So we're planting them today. According to the moon sign, today's a good day to plant them. So what we're doing is we're planting our peas, and we're planting them on this trellis. These are Alaska peas. We're planting those 1.5 inches deep, and all good gardeners know by looking at their fingers how much 1.5 inches is. 1.5 inches to me is right about there. So made my trench, put my peas in about every 2 inches, and then you notice I got my peas right smack next to the water line, and that is because peas like water. So I've got the water irrigation turned off on the outside gardens right now. It's just into the greenhouses. So we'll be planting these, and then we'll be turning the irrigation system on and get them watered down, and hopefully we'll have peas. Remember always to label. We're trying out this new label system this year. It's I used the tea stakes before, but this one comes with a marker that is supposed to be good for outdoor use. Because how many times do we make our markers and they fade in the wet weather? They fade when they get watered. And so we're going to try these this year and see how they do. I do believe it's a permanent marker, so once you use them, that's it. So I did not put the date on here. I'll put the date on my garden log that I write out. But I did put 56 days, how long they mature. So I'll be able to calculate when these should be ready. So we're going to cover these up and continue with the rest. In the high greenhouse, I am planting the Little Marvel pea seeds. And you'll notice that I did not soak any of my pea seeds. Some people soak them, some of them don't. If I was planting them in a dry area that I had to hand water, I would probably soak most of them. But in the greenhouse, where the irrigation system is going to be working, I see no reason to soak them. And you notice that these seeds have a pinkish color to them. That's because they've been inoculated to help them grow. And you don't want to soak those that have been covered in this stuff, because you don't want to wash that off. You want that to stay in next to the pea. So if your peas are inoculated with whatever it is to prevent them from getting diseases or to help them grow, you don't want to soak them ahead of time. So we're going to cover these up, and we'll be done with the outdoor planting for right now. Tomorrow, hopefully, I'll get in and get some of the root crops planted. I have until, according to my application that I'm using, I have until 10 o'clock tonight to get the peas in and to get the tomatoes started upstairs. And then from 10 o'clock on to the next day is for the root crops. So that's what we're going by. Well, we're back inside. The wind got a little bit too rambunctious to be filming out there, and I wanted to be heard without having to scream at you. So we're inside. Peas are great for putting in the greenhouse because of the fact that they're self-pollinating. You don't need the bees and the birds and stuff to pollinate them. They have both male and female on the same flower. Sometimes it helps to shake them, but you got to be careful when you shake them because they are a hollow stem plant. And if you break that stem, that pretty much kills the rest of the top of that plant. So there's 3 different types of peas. There's the snap or sugar peas, there's the snow peas, and there's the garden peas. And then there's also a flower called the sweet pea, which you do not want to eat because it is toxic. The snap peas Well, the reason you have different ones is because you use them in different ways to cook. The snap peas and snap peas are fat and juicy and have a sweet edible pod. And you can eat these right out in the garden. Just pop them off the plant and into your mouth. Usually they're the earliest type of pea to mature. They usually, sometimes some of them maybe take less than 50 days or 60 days. So they're quick to get started. The snow peas, they're just like the snap peas except that they're flat and the peas inside them are really small. And then there's the shell peas or the garden peas or the English peas. They go by a bunch of different names. These are the ones that have the inedible pods. You have to shell these to use them. So those are the 3 different types. So you kind of decide what you want to use them for and then go from there. I like to do heirloom varieties. That way I can save the seeds and know I'm going to get the same thing every year. And peas can actually be planted fairly close together because of their being self-pollinated. The pollen it's very little chance of getting cross-pollination from one variety to the other if you have them in a separate area of the garden. But some of your heirloom snap peas would include the Amish snap pea, the sugar snap, the sugar Ann, and the sugar daddy. And your snow peas, the mammoth, the mammoth wagon, the golden sweet, and the dwarf gray sugar are all heirlooms. Your shell peas, which is what I normally fix, Alaska, Little Marble, Lincoln, Tom Thumb, Champions of England, Green Arrow, those are all heirloom varieties. When you plant your seeds, you can either soak them beforehand or not. It depends on what you like to do. Like I said earlier, if they're inoculated with something, you do not want to soak them because you don't want to get that away from the seed. But they take 7 to 14 days to germinate. Harvest time will vary depending upon the variety. They go from 50 all the way up to 72 days before they mature. Temperature of the soil, they like it about 70 to 75 for germination. If the soil is colder than that, you'll have slower germination, or they might not even germinate. You sow seeds about 1 inch apart. 1 inch deep and about 2 inches apart. Sow them. When can you sow them? Oh gosh, you can sow them whenever you can start working the ground. Usually when the soil temperatures get between 50 and 75 degrees, that's when you can start sowing them. You can sow them up to 2 months before the first frost date in the fall, and that way it'll give you a fall harvest also. Pick them daily once they do become ready to harvest. Shell peas are ready when the peas are round and the shell has not really, pod has not really built up around them yet. The snow peas, they're ready to pick when the pods are full length and the peas are just beginning to form. And the sugar and the snap peas, they pick when the peas are rounded and the pods are just starting to plump up. I use my calendar to determine when it's time to start checking them. I check the package. It says 50 some odd days before they're mature. So I'll go on my calendar and I'll go 50 days from when I planted them. And that's when I'll know to start checking them. They might not be ready then, but that's when I start checking to see if they're ready. Some of the things that you can plant with them or after them. Right after the peas are done, you can put the cucumbers in. They will benefit from the trellis. If your pea vine says pea package says the vine can get 3 feet or longer, they do need a trellis. So you can, when the peas are done, just put the cucumbers in on the same thing. The nitrogen that the peas have will be great for the cucumbers. Also, companion plants for the peas themselves would be beans, carrots, corn, radishes, lettuce, basil, spinach, cauliflower, eggplant, celery, nasturtiums, and turnips. Now what you want to avoid, do not plant them near garlic, onions, or potatoes. Some of the things that you have to, pests and things that you have to look out for is aphids, Mexican bean beetle, woodchucks, and bacterial blight and a wilt. Those are some of the things that you need to watch out for. When you're growing them, they should be watered sparingly. They like to be wet, but they don't want to be soaked. Like I say, you'll need a trellis or something for the larger vines to climb on. And gently hand hoe any weeds and add a 2-inch mulch to them to help keep the weeds down and retain moisture if you have to. They're usually planted 4 to 6 weeks before the last expected frost. And when you do harvest them, you can blanch them before you freeze them, or you can store the fresh peas in the refrigerator for up to 5 days. Place in a paper bag and wrapped in plastic. So that is all I got for you right now on peas, except that the world record for eating peas was held by a Janet Harris, who in 1984 ate 7,175 peas one by one in 60 minutes using chopsticks. So just a little trivia in there. Like, share, subscribe, and remember, dream big and follow that dream. I'll see you in the next video. God bless everybody. Bye.